Hello everybody, good morning. I am a few minutes early because I had to check the new version of OBS and make sure that it actually started streaming, because if it didn't, I would have had to quickly revert to the old version of OBS. So that's what happened last week, which is why I was a little bit late. I think it was last week, or the week before, whenever it was. So, I'm a few minutes early. So, more chat. Hello! How's everyone doing? Yes, I'm in a t-shirt at 6:30 in the morning. I'm a little bit cold, but I was a little bit warm in my hoodie. It's actually not freezing outside. I don't know why. Heater's on though. It'll warm up, hopefully. I have my trusty coffee to keep me going. How Johnny is here. Back-to-back streams from beta. Well done. Woohoo! And lots of bugs. Who's got lots of bugs? What? Who? What? Where? We're awesome to ourselves. What did I miss? So I'm just reading the chat. Lots of people already, and we're not even at 6:30 yet. We're going to have an interesting day today, aren't we? Very interesting day. I wish there was a way that I could run a poll in the YouTube chat. There isn't. So I'm just reading chat. Mr. Mouse. Okay, I'm going to start saying hi to people in the chat. So, Peter Stimple, good morning. Deshipu, hello. Victor Dart. Doesn't matter what the design, he'll be doing it the wrong way, he always does. Excellent, that's Mark's job. Mr. Who30, hello. Mark Olson, hi. Hi Bodix, Yombo Prime, Peter. Bruce. Rob. Wow, it's like you've been here at the start for like weeks at a time. What's going on, Rob? You know me to sleep on the couch. I guess, yeah. Good on you, mate. It's great to see you. Francesco, hello. Paul, hello. Monster Mark, Johnny. Ayan Vader. I hope I got that right. Vader. Apologise if I didn't. Hello there. Andy Calloway, hi. Andy Mouse. Cable Tie. Kevon. Patrick. Morigor, hello. Fred Flintstone. Johnny is here. How Johnny Bergdahl. I don't know why everyone's calling him that, but everyone's calling him that. David, hello. Kelvin, it's 12 degrees. Is it? I don't know. I was outside this morning when I walked to the office, and normally like I open the back door to come to my office, and the cold breeze just goes bang, hits me in the face, but it didn't this morning. There was a bit of a breeze, but it wasn't freezing. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Brad, hello. Oh, it jumped. Matthias, hi. Dizzy PCB, hello. Christopher White, good morning. Rota. Guffo Nero, I hope I got that right. Graham, hi. Tafsy. X-Micron, Technology, hi. Christoph Zakaj from Poland. Just butchered your name, I'm pretty sure I did. I apologise. Photochromax, hi. Lots of folks. How cool. Very cool. And that's not including all the people that haven't said hi in the chat, so I can't say hi back. Hello, Emma. I hope you're well. Hey, Savage Electronics. If you're new to the stream, or if you've been lurking and you've never said hi on the chat, say hi if you want to. You don't have to. Planet 886. That's a cool name. Hello. Jerko, hi. James. Hello, James. Yeah, well, the sun is not shining, but the coffee is actually not that strong. Hog fanboy, hello. Inbound frog. Inbound frog. Hi. Okay. And Matthew. Piv Play Arc. Hi. Look at all these names that we haven't seen before. I don't know if any of you are new or not, but pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So everybody, James has a Discord. Is this open to everyone, James? Sorry, I should have asked you first. I'll wait to hear the answer. Michael, hi. Balnian, hello. I guess so, says James. Okay, I guess it is now. Thought of using the RP2040 super exciting. So why is it super exciting to you? I would like to know. There's definitely a split camp between people that go, it's really exciting, and people that go, eh. I'd like to know. Yeah, I'm going to do the link now. I'm getting the link. Unless James. Well, James can do the link. You want to do the link, or do you want me to do the link? I don't know how long the link is active for, but there you go. RP2040 is exciting because you can actually buy it. Well, that's true. Well, you can buy ESP32s. That's exciting. And for those that... Hang on, I should just... for those that aren't on my Discord server, now that we're doing Discord servers, links, here's a link to mine. It's $1 and supports USB. Wait, what? Oh, right. So Mark's saying yes. It's $1 and it supports USB. Look, it's an incredible price. Absolutely, no doubt. It's even silicon shortage aside, it's an incredible price for an MCU. It's not even comparable, right? Because of the feature set of the RP2040, but the SAMD21, which is also a Cortex M0, they cost me $4.50 each for my Reflow Masters. $4, yeah. So I mean, yes, massive difference in price. So yes. Click here or else. Oh, click like or else. Yes, Johnny has a spanner. Everyone be careful. Oh wow, lots of people joining my Discord server. It's just gone nuts. What just happened? Ping, 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 ping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people just joined the server. Let's go. 7 pings. That's awesome. That's really awesome. So hang on, I missed did anyone else answer? If you answered what you liked about the 2040 and I missed it, at me so I can see it. Price, capability, especially PIO. Yeah, look, PIO, yes, absolutely. PIO is very cool. It's it's not the first MCU that's had something like that, but the implementation is very good. Yes. Hey Shaq. And anyone I haven't said hi to, did I say hi to Blam? I think I might have said. Lucio de Eleto. Apologise to anyone who I wreck their name. But Lucio, hello, welcome. Christian, hi. Being dual core is good, although not really useful for a lot of people, I would say. Because writing code that can actually leverage dual core is not easy, right? Blam, you didn't know, but I know. I mean, you. Oh, right. Oh, I didn't say hi. Right. I apologise. I saw your name go past and I got distracted. Hey, Clem's here. Hello. Who would have thought RP20 is easier to get than STM32? I know. How crazy is that? Well, to be fair, like, cocaine is easier to get than STM32s. Like, you know, like US visas are easier to get than STM32. Actually, no, they're really not. No, they're really not. Anyway, let's not go there. Hey, DIY in the ghetto. Good turnout today. Really good turnout. Welcome, everybody. Hey, Tony. Tony wouldn't know about cocaine. Well, neither would I. Anymore. No. This is a clean channel. Hey, Trevor. Brian's here. Okay, we can all go home. Brian's here. It's done. The universe is complete. The universe? Wow. Brian arrived at the right time. Yes. Sienna speaking. Drivel. Yep. Jose, USB heat stuff is very cheap. Yep. Michael doesn't do drugs, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink. Yep. I mean, my partying days are very far behind me. Very far. I don't smoke, and I very rarely, really rarely drink. Like, yeah. So, I'm also boring. Michael, don't worry. It's all good. Hello, Paul's Projects. Yeah, actually, I don't drink as much coffee as I used to, but need it this morning. Brian's super boring. Yeah, we've discussed that a lot, haven't we, Brian? Like, you know, you're an Irishman who doesn't drink. That's just... And I know I'm sure there are stacks of you. I know, but it's like, it's the... yeah. Doesn't even drink coffee. How can you make it through the day? I finally made a big move to Linux full-time. The programs only worked on Windows only. I couldn't get to work on Linux, but now I'm fully moved over. Yay. Good job. Well done. Paul, hello. I hope you're well, mate. You've been on another working stint, have you? I figured. So I hope you're doing well. And Sylvia as well. Okay, so I announced the stream on Twitter and also on my Discord, and there was lots of chatter about what I could possibly be working on. I didn't have a plan. Okay, so when I got the RP2040s, my only real plan, other than maybe to tinker, was to look at making a version of my Reflow Master to use the RP2040 instead of the SAMD21. Basically because they're not the same as in drop-in, the same, but they're the same enough in terms of, you know, I just need to put the RP2040 and a 12 megahertz crystal down, and it's really easy to swap over, right? But it's a much faster core. It means I can drive the screen much faster. It's got more memory, and I have to add flash, sure, and I'd have to go overkill. I've only got 16 megabyte flash chips, so like, who needs 16 megabytes on a Reflow Master? Anyway, the point was, I was looking at that as a path, especially because you can't buy SAMDs anymore. I've got quite a few here. That's okay. That's what I was originally looking at doing, and then whatever else I could do. But look, I didn't jump on the RP2040 bandwagon when they first came out. You know, people were buying boards and hot airing them off and stuff and designing boards, just because I can't really see what an RP2040 dev board brings the makerspace. And there are already stacks of people doing it, right? Like Adafruit have got 3 different boards. SparkFun, I think they've got a couple, all they've got their modules at least. Primaroni have got boards. I mean, there's enough boards out there, plus the Pico. There's no shortage on boards. So I couldn't think of anything unique that I could do that I could bring to the table. So I didn't. Like, having a tiny Pico format RP2040 didn't really make a lot of sense, right? The Tiny Pico's got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, got faster cores, more flash, or depending on how I do the flash, way more memory, whatever. Why would someone go an RP2040 Tiny Pico footprint? For what purpose, right? I want to make a HID host shield. Right, but people already, doing that, right? There's a lot of... Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. The RP2040 on a Reflow Master, even potentially the Reflow Master Pro, maybe. I don't know, right? I can run CircuitPython on it. I can run MicroPython on it, Arduino, whatever. But I'm still keen to play with it, right? Part of this whole journey I'm on is learning. And so if I never build a board with an RP2040, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I haven't done. So I want to do. So anyway, we were discussing what board it could be, and Larry Lawrence, you might all know him as was it Code Fast RS or whatever, like the performance guy. What does he call himself? Mr. Optimization. Yeah, he goes by a few different names. Larry Banks, right? He RP2040 3D printer. Well, I don't want to build a 3D printer. I don't want to build a controller board for a 3D printer. Other people are doing that. Clem's got a project on for that, and there's enough stuff out there like that. So anyway, he suggested that I look at HDMI. And so, people were chatting, good morning, Helmet, and then I suggested, okay, what about an RP40 in a Tiny Pico footprint with a micro HDMI port on it? Hey, Embedded Hobbyist, and hello to anyone that I missed. Technolog, hello. Sorry, I'm just scanning back. Farhan, hi. I'm sure I missed more people. I apologise. No, Mark, the island didn't send all the non-alcohol drinkers to Australia. We are a very heavy alcohol drinking country. Ian, hello. Good morning. Right, well, the problem with doing... Okay, so, assuming I'm going to do HDMI at all, so something interesting came up while I was asleep. Someone tweeted to me basically saying, I need to be an HDMI adopter to legally create something with a HDMI input on it, input or output on it, right? The lowest for low volume product is $5,000 a year plus $1 a unit. Now, I'm curious to know, for people that have been putting HDMI connectors on their boards, who's registering, right? I'm not overly worried about making a board, sticking an HDMI port on it, and not registering it to make it legal. It's not a consumer-facing product. Whatever happened to that? Oh, you're going to always ask me. It's still classified. It's locked up in prison. It's in Area 51, Shaq. Getting an extra flash memory chip. Having a second core can be useful, absolutely. I'm just saying only to a small group of people. If you look at the number of people that use a microcontroller with Arduino and tinker and do whatever else they do, the largest percentage of that group of people would never need dual core concurrency, and they, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you're asking, what are the advantages of an RP2040? Well, the nice thing about RP2040 is its price. It's a Cortex M0, but it's clocked up at like 120 odd megahertz. You can actually overclock it up to as high as 200 and something. It's dual core. It's got, 264 kilobytes of SRAM, which is at the very much high end of what you'd normally get inside a Cortex M or, type MCU. And then it's got native USB, and it's got what's called PIO, which is basically a set of logic ports that you can use on some I/O or a bunch of I/O that you can design your own peripherals for that are independent of the CPU. So just like SPI and I2C and stuff are implemented as separate peripherals in a microcontroller, so when you're using SPI, apart from moving stuff through memory from the MCU, you're not using the CPU to control the screen. It's using the SPI peripherals, it's a separate bit of hardware. So that's what PIO lets you do, and you can do some really interesting things with it. And people have done like VGA and DVI output, and people have done HDMI. Apparently HDMI is not overly performant, but it's an interesting bit of technology, been around in other products before, but like the BeagleBone had something similar, and maybe not as extensive, but it's definitely a bit of interesting bit of tech, and people are finding some interesting uses for it. Hey Xavier. Yeah, there's already boards with Ethernet. So BitLooney is working on a PoE RP2040 board. So it's got Ethernet and PoE with it. Other people have done Ethernet adapters for it as well. So that's been done. DVI has been done. VGA has been done. Even HDMI has been done. So SparkFun have... I was going to show you this. Switch screens. So SparkFun have their micromod board. Have you seen the SparkFun's micromod modules? It's these boards here, and they've got this. They've designed this format where you can buy these modules that run PCI Express or the M.2 ports, and they've got an STM32, an ESP32, RP2040, all the different types of MCUs on this board, and they've got a whole range of carrier boards. So this carrier board here's got HDMI on it. I can't see anything on here about licensing, whether it's been licensed or not. I'm assuming no, because it's not a consumer-facing product. Mark, I've started to make a project that is RP2040 connected to a GLCD, and we'll write a driver for Linux frame buffer which sends output to the screen. Sure, I mean Larry was also talking about using that an 8-bit parallel mode to really do really fast screen stuff, but if you had HDMI, why would you want that? I'd rather put I'll put a HDMI screen on a board over a LCD or whatever else any time of the day, really, assuming it can go fast enough. Yeah, the micromod stuff it's pretty good, but it's also so they've designed a particular format, and everything's kind of locked into that. But they've got a whole bunch of different carrier boards. Look, they're doing a great job with it. They definitely are. But yeah, they've got HDMI on there now. So HDMI has also been done. I don't think there's anything specifically new I could do with a 2040 that hasn't already been done. That doesn't mean I can't make one though, right? But I can design the board if I want, and you write the drivers. Come on. Sure, I'll add it to my list. When there's micros, I'm not going to be plugging into HDMI. I'll be using LCDs, OLEDs, TFTs with them. Well, that's only because you've never been able to plug a HDMI screen in. That's all. RP2040 Whopper. It's a port and a protocol. Well, it's ultimately it's digital video going over. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know a lot about HDMI. I wouldn't even know how to put a board like this together, but I'm happy to experiment today. So, what would people like? Any suggestions on the type of boards? I'm not locked on this HDMI RP2040 board yet, by the way. How about direct driving a CRT? Well, that's also been done. There's people have already got VGA out. They've got boards already. I mean, there are people who have written game emulation, like full stuff, running on running on a Pico board. So, where's my Pico board? My desk is a bit of a mess. You know, there are people who've already done that. You know, they've got wired up SVGA, VGA and SVGA and stuff to these things. Crawling the beam directly. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have any expertise in that, so I wouldn't even know how to do that. Not that I've got any expertise in HDMI, but can it do 4K video? It's a 133 megahertz microcontroller. I don't think it's going to do 4K video. No. Yeah, there's a Doom port. Look, there's been lots of people have jumped on the Pico board and the RP2040 and done all sorts of stuff. Yeah, the VGA on ESP32 is pretty cool. I've got one of his adapters here, the tiny Pico. There are a million generic dev boards, so you should create a board with a peripheral attached. What do I have in stock? You can easily get sensors, screens, input devices. Right, so another idea I had was to make an RP2040 board with a 160 by 80 screen embedded, like, you know, a long, thin board. Again, could be... I'd like to keep it compatible with my other board, so it could be a Tiny Pico compatible footprint, but longer with a screen on it. Right? But you know, like one of my so if just like this. Hang on. I guess it'll look kind of something like it would be so it wouldn't have header pins on this side. It would be like a long board with a screen on it. I don't really want to do double-sided. Well, I need to fix this. Okay. Play with my... There we go. So it could be board with a screen on it. Like that. Where's my free cookie? Electron Ash, sorry, no free cookies here. How about audio? Any thoughts there? Yeah, I'm not really... I mean, sure, I could stick a little amp on there, but... You know... There are lots of things I could do. Add Wi-Fi to it. Nah, why? Oh, that's already been done. I mean, the Arduino 2040 has an ESP32 on it. What? A real EFI instead of a weak mega squirt. I have no idea what you're talking about. Make a 2040 board with a spine replacement add-on. Rafting season is here and I'm a whole year at... Right, yeah, probably not, Paul. Let's get it a little bit into biology and genetics, and an electronic fuel injector. Mega squirt is a fuel injection thing. Yep. Okay, it's got to be something that I understand how it works, or I know what it is. Right? I mean, if I'm going to design something on the stream anyway. RP2040 CubeSat. I'm pretty sure the genetic stuff's out of my wheelhouse, Paul. I'm very sorry. Do you have any of those micro mirror chips? I have no idea what a micro mirror chip is. Oh, Johnny's saying click like and get a cookie. Right. That's pretty funny. Yeah, STEMMA QT connector's easy. So look, what I was thinking, so here's the thing. With the HDMI idea, let me show you. I've been playing around with different HDMI sizes. So this is my tiny S2 board, which would be an interesting starting point because it's the same size MCU. And then I've got over here two different options for HDMI. So I know people don't like the micro. This is the micro here, and this is a mini. Now if I was to put a micro on, oh, go away, then then I could also fit a stemmer connector. As you can see here, right? I've had to make the board a fraction longer, but I could fit a micro HDMI and a stemmer connector. But if I go, I mean, that looks like a routing nightmare. But if I went the mini, I couldn't fit the stemmer connector, but I could fit a mini HDMI on there. Obviously, I can't fit a full-size HDMI. Oh, so Mark just, can I show that, Mark? No, it's not over the F. There's no radio in an RP2040, so no, you can't do over the air with it. RP2040 sector Oz dollar display, sure. Mark doesn't have a spanner anymore. We'll give Mark a temporary spanner. But yeah, Mark sent a picture. So what's this, Mark? That's obviously a Pico sitting on a carrier board with one of your debug ports. Right, you're going to put an RP2040 directly on it. Cool. If the chip had native support for HDMI, it would make more sense, but I think it needs quite a bit of CPU power. Right, well, that's true, right. But still, it's HDMI output. I mean, that's sure. You don't get that every day on a microcontroller, do you? Forget HDMI. If you're going to do display, do DVI. But DVI has been done already. There's a whole bunch of boards people have done. That's what Luke Wren did, and a whole... He made that open, and a whole bunch of people are doing stuff. I'm not attached to the HDMI thing, right? I mean, I've never done HDMI. It'd be interesting. I have to also fit some flash on here. Right? So the board's going to have to get bigger anyway. And then all the rest of the stuff that's on here, I mean, all the battery charge stuff, I mean, that'll all stay. So if I was to go this route, I mean, the board would have to be quite a bit bigger. Quite a bit bigger. To get the flash in. I know I can get smaller flash chips, but this is what I've got in stock. And flash is not easy to find right now, let me tell you. So, but again, I'm not attached to this specifically. Let's go to bigger delivered, thinking about using... Hey Andre, using it in my racer to make my steering wheel buttons wireless. Quick release overkill, yes, but fun. Yeah. Quite a few people have used my tiny Picos to do BLE steering wheels for racing things. Yeah. RP2040 digital multimeter. Sure, that's more of a software thing, right? I mean, other than putting a little bit of components on. It's not the type of stuff I normally make, though, Adam. I mean, sure. Really like the idea of a functional device like a programmable DIMM or USB hub. Hey Aaron. About audio, ITS, DSP capabilities of the chip yet? Yeah, you could do FFT with it. I don't know. Does it have I2S peripheral? I don't even know. Hey, Rich Bristol, up into it with PS RAM and EEPROM battery charger. I don't think you can do PS RAM on... Can you do PS RAM on the Pico? I mean, sure, you can connect it up. It's just SPI, but Can you actually, like, is there any support for PSRAM specifically? Sure, you could do I2S over PIO, but I was curious to know if there wasn't actually an I2S peripheral in there. Hey, Nick. And why would you want an EEPROM, out of curiosity, when you got flash? Tiny RP2040 with flash and a STEMMA QT connector would be great, but that's already been done. Hybotics. I mean, not in a tiny Pico footprint, but, you know, they're like Adafruit have got three. They've got their Itsy Bitsy, they've got their Cutie, and they've got their Feather. And then Pomerone have got a couple of different boards. No, 264K is not a lot for SRAM, for buffers and stuff. I don't think there's a direct support for mapping external SPI PSRAM. Yeah, I don't think it does either. I looked at that early on, very, very briefly. I don't know, when it first came out. Yeah, the ESP32 is faster than the RP2040, yes. Can the flash be partitioned? Sure. You can set up your flash however you want. It's up to... Yeah. Are we thinking Wi-Fi and Bluetooth? No, we're not. I mean, making a board with an RP2040 and a ESP32, I mean, it's been done already, right? So what's the name of the Arduino board? Does anyone remember? Arduino... Buy an Arduino. You don't know the name of their new board? Their RP2040 one? Can you even search? I've never even looked at their store. Now I feel bad. Is there a search? Search Arduino store. RP2040. They just released it. RP2040 Connect, is that the one? With the Connect. So they've got an RP2040 and an ESP32 on it. Well, they've got a module, which is interesting. They did the module. Or was it the W102 module, I think? Yeah, the Nina radio module. So it's basically an ESP32 running the Nina firmware, right? Which is what I'd have to do anyway. So... Brian, oh, you got one of these, do you? And you don't know what you're going to do with it? Yeah, I don't know what I'd do with it either. Like, I don't know why I mean, other than PIO, I don't know why I'd want a Raspberry, like an RP2040 with Wi-Fi, like with a separate Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip that I can't do anything else with except for Wi-Fi Bluetooth. I just want the ESP32. What speed classes are there? Well, VC, USB video class, and some other classes. Why the hell is there no IC out there with Wi-Fi but not the ESP32? Because it's really, really hard to do. Because you can't do low-power Wi-Fi. Well, no one has yet, right? I mean, it pretty much doesn't exist. And so... Like, you can't just retrofit Wi-Fi in an NRF with Bluetooth because you'll lose your whole low-performance Bluetooth stuff. I mean, there are other chips out there and there are other modules out there that have Wi-Fi on them, but nothing's mainstream yet. They've got terrible programming environments and stuff, and, you know, the fact is ESP32 is dominating that space, but what's wrong with an ESP32? I mean... Yeah, sorry, yeah. At the moment, it's 2.4 gigahertz. There's 5 gigahertz coming out. But that's a whole extra problem, right? I mean, that takes more power, not less power. Of course, an ESP32 is not low power. No one ever said it's low power. Right, so how much is an ESP32 chip? couple of bucks. How much is your phone? Take the screen away from your phone. How much is your phone? Look at the size of the battery inside your phone. You put a battery that size on an ESP32, and an ESP32 will last a couple of days as well. It'll last a week. Yeah, so that's not a fair comparison. ASP-ZX. One's a microcontroller, and one is a CPU running an operating system with a completely hand-designed, fine-tuned. Like your phone doesn't have an ESP32 chip inside it. RP2040 plus Wi-Fi is ESP32, or it's an ESP32 with the CP204. No, it's not. You don't have to put the CP204 and stuff on there. Because the Wi-Fi slash Bluetooth it'd come pre-flashed with the Nina firmware, and you talk to it over SPI, and then you don't need to be able to flash the ESP32. There's nothing wrong with 2.4 gigahertz on Wi-Fi. 2.4 gigahertz on Wi-Fi is way preferable over 5 gigahertz in so many different circumstances, right? 5 gigahertz is faster, but only line of sight, short distance, right? So most houses, if it's a brick house, you've got brick walls in your house, 5G is useless. If you're in an apartment building where you're using shared Wi-Fi, or in a hotel, or in a corporate office where there's brickwork or there's steel work, 5G is useless. So, yeah, I mean, I'm talking about 5 gigahertz. Sorry, not 5G, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So, hopefully they're fixing that with whatever their next standard is. But, replace the CP2102 on your Tiny Pico with RP, it's cheaper. It is cheaper, but who's going to write the USB drivers for it? And it takes up 4 times as much space, so it doesn't fit. Yeah. So, yeah, and writing USB drivers is not easy, and it can't just be running tiny USB, because then it's not an ESP32 anymore. Does that make sense? Oh, was it a joke? Okay. No, it's been suggested to me, actually. It's been suggested to me. Like, you use two ESP32, you use an S2 for the serial UART. Anyway, yeah. 2.4 gigahertz used in my mum's house, you have to leave the doors open to get a signal out the room. For 2.4 gigahertz? Really? How? Correct, 5G is not the same as 5 gigahertz. .5G is 25 to 39 gigahertz. Well, there you go. Thank you. I don't know what it is. What's the power consumption of the RP2040 compared to the ESP32? I don't know, but the ESP32 power consumption is not high if you're not using the radios. For a dual core 240 megahertz CPU, it's not high. It's only when you enable the radios that you have a problem, but that's the same with anything that uses Wi-Fi. Now, they're especially improving that. Sorry, I haven't started designing anything, for those that haven't noticed. Especially for improving things. The C3 is a little bit better, but it's RISC, right? The C6 will be better again, but it's RISC. It's, there's a lot of features not on the C3 that there is on the regular ESP32. Will the S3 be lower power consumption? I doubt it. But it's going to pack way more stuff inside it. So it's okay. Not everything has to be low power, right? It's about clever coding. Like, if your project needs always on Wi-Fi, sorry, you've designed your project wrong. If it's microcontroller based, you've designed your project wrong. There are other things you could use instead. My opinion. Interesting, Mark. Or compared to what? Compared to a low power STM32? Mark says the RP2040 isn't great power consumption compared to an STM32. But STM32 have different ranges, right? They've got the low power range. Their higher end stuff is they're quite power hungry, but they're really beefy, right? So, oh, Larry's here. We were talking about you, Larry. Are your ears burning? It was earlier. So to repeat, what about a prop board? I think that would be unique. Right, so what, an RP2040 with an amp and an IMU. What else would you want on it? An interface for some NeoPixels. Yeah? Hey Ray, use 80 meters and you can control Sam when Sion's not looking. What? Use 80... Who, what, where? What? What did I miss on that one? Trying to figure out a platform for multi-month battery operation of cameras with opportunistic mesh networking. Hey Fixed Daily. USB on top, HDMI on the bottom. What do you mean on top and bottom? I don't want to build a double-sided board. Preferably. I mean, it's adds cost and time and effort and pain. Do you have any thoughts on connectivity options on this new board? Yeah, I wasn't going to do connectivity options. So, I mean, again, if you need connectivity, you don't. Why would you use a RP2040? There are stacks of other chips out there that you can use that have connectivity. Bluetooth only. You got NRFs, you got STM32s and stuff. If you want Wi-Fi, well, there's ESP32. There's other things. Was it the W600, whatever it's called? Aren't we putting too much trust in Espressif creating a monopoly? Trust in them creating a monopoly? I don't think they'll create a monopoly. They're just ahead of the game. That's all. And what they do is hard. Like, Wi-Fi is hard. It really is. So, sorry, I'm like trying to get through the chat. There's a lot of chat happening tonight. Larry's been optimizing things. Maybe Larry can optimize the chat. RP2040 power supply controller. I think that's been done. There's quite a few out there. I mean, even Mike Rankin's got a an ESP32 based, like USB-C power thing. Right, there's a Pi Pico ATX motherboard. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's with many I/O free pins. Well, the ESP30, the S2 and the S3 have got more I/O than the regular ESP32. I mean, how many pins do you really need? HDMI at the front, party at the back. What's RPIO? So I don't know what RP... What board's RPIO? Larry? Hey, Dave. Yeah, we're talking about low power with radios and stuff, Larry, not non-radio stuff. Oh, Raspberry Pi Zero. Right, RPi, right. I was reading RPIO. Right, Raspberry Pi Zero. Yeah, the Raspberry Pis are not. I mean, they're not really designed for low power. I mean, they're little computers, right? Well, RPi 40. Okay, Mark says the Raspberry Pi 2040 main features USB, so you likely have it plugged in all the time. So no point caring about power. True. Six-sided. Six-sided PCB. I have 2 bean cans and 80 meters of string. Walkie-talkies! Yay! Matthias, well, BitLooney's got... He's handled the Ethernet. Well, someone else has done Ethernet. He's got PoE and Ethernet. But why would you want to do... Why would you want to do Ethernet and audio for streaming sound over a network when you can buy for like a couple of dollars a Bluetooth solution, BLE solution that does that anywhere, and you don't have to be hardwired. How about some useful instrumentation? That's out of my wheelhouse, Chris. Like, especially the useful part. Sion spotted a possible countryman. Who? There are other Aussies, or you're talking about for you, countryman for you. Did they fix the ADCs yet in the SP32? Define fix. The ADCs in the SP32s work. They don't need to be fixed. They're just different how they work. That's all. Are they the best ADCs in the world? Well, no. But are they usable? Absolutely. Pico's no camera bus. No, but the Pico has PO. You could do an 8-bit camera bus, no problem. I mean, you could code it yourself. Stick a Dante chip on it. I don't know what a Dante chip is. I still think you should start by looking at what peripheral you want to have on the board. What have I got? I've got IMUs. I've got light sensors, like ambient light sensors. I've got screens. I've got I/O expanders. I've got ADCs. I've got all sorts of stuff. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've got RTCs. I don't know what use an RTC would be without having connectivity. Dante is an audio over IP system for professionals used by sound engineers. Oh, okay, cool. Drone flight controller, since there's a shortage of STM32s. Yeah, again, totally out of my wheelhouse. Would what run, Sam? Like, I'd have to really get into, like, I don't fly drones, right? I don't own a drone. I'd really have to get into that space to really understand designing a board like that. But will it run Crisis? Yeah, Michael, we've had a sick house here. Everyone's starting to feel a bit better. Flynn's been the worst, unfortunately. He's been off school, hopefully going back to school today. He really wants to go to school. He loves school. But yeah, he's been really unwell. You might hear my throat. I'm still getting over it. I'm almost done. A rocket MCU done. I'd love to build rocket flight controllers, but again, what for? I don't fly rockets. I'd like to fly rocket. I'd like to get into that one day when I have spare time. What is that? I don't know. Emulate a dual core 406 running Windows NT on it for giggles. CNC controller. Yeah, we spoke about that. That's already people working on those. A network connected small footprint RP2040 board. Hey, aka Soggy Buns. Thanks. Yeah, everyone's starting to feel better, which is good. It's not COVID. It's just cold. Like, it's winter. You know, one person in the house catches a cold and everyone else catches it from them. Network connected small footprint RP2040 board. But why do you need that? What is that going to give you that a network connected other MCU can't? Why would you... Okay, folks, so why would you want to build a 3D printer controller or a pick and place controller out of an RP2040? To connect to what? Like... So, like, if you look at a 3D printer controller, like, okay, you got a STM32 on there that's basically running Marlin or something, right? And then you've got, like, that makes up, like, 2% of the whole board. So, why... What's the point? Like, why would you want to stick a, like... just spinning out crazy ideas. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll keep spinning out crazy ideas. It's weird hearing it's winter. Yeah, it's definitely winter. That's the question, right? Thanks, Johnny. Johnny paid 50 sec to make sure there's a pink LED on it. I'll have to do that. RP2040 Delora, it's been done already. I believe I saw that the other day. Someone is working on that. Delora, I love her. A DIY scope. You guys are looking for guys and girls, folks are looking for an end solution. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a DIY scope, a printer controller, or whatever else, because they have more of a software component than a hardware component, right? I'm looking for a something that people can make stuff with, that can do stuff with, not an end product. Does that make sense? Like, right. So, but you can just take like all the people who've got existing 3D controller boards, Mark, can just rejig their boards and stick an RP2040 on it. But they have to then change all their firmware and whatever else. It becomes a software problem. A DIY scope becomes a software problem, not a hardware problem, right? Sticking some ADCs on there for measurement stuff becomes a software problem, not a hardware thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking for a not even IO feature suggestions, because even IO feature suggestions becomes a software thing in firmware. Well, the STM32 doesn't dominate consumer products compared to the RP2040. The RP2040 doesn't exist in consumer products, right? And it won't for a very long time because it's got no track record. The same reason why SAMD doesn't exist in consumer products. Like, STM32 dominate that space because of how long they've been around for, how robust and stable they are, mostly. Hey Mark, it's another choice of MCU. Yeah, choice is great, absolutely. But hardware socket thing and form factor then. Too many wheels invented and trying to reinvent is the problem. No, it's just, I'm just curious. Like, people suggesting things, which is cool, but I'm curious to know, like, what would you all use an RP2040 for? Hey Mike, hasn't someone already done I'm sure I saw a microbit board with a 2040 on it. Hasn't that been done? Hang on. But again, there are so many microbit style boards. Probably make an RP2040 based Pew Pew at some point. Well, Rhoda, that's the thing, right? I mean, what can you do with PIO? Well, you can do HDMI, which you can't do on any other board that I know of, unless you've got dedicated HDMI hardware, which is why I thought HDMI was interesting. How useful the HDMI would be, I don't know. I mean, DVI has been done already, right? Yeah, like, human interface stuff's interesting, Mark, but what? Like, isn't just a Pico board already with pins that you can connect whatever you want to it and plug it in? Doesn't that already cover you? Sort of low power capabilities. The 2040 doesn't do low power much at all, I think. I don't know. Authority to support superior currencies. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, look, that the battery protection stuff's interesting. I don't believe battery protection under voltage needs to be on a board. I personally don't believe that. You use batteries that already have it on there if you need it, and if you don't need it, or if you want to use batteries like 18650s that don't have any type of protection at all, or even if you can get the ones that have some protection on them now, some of those newer ones, again, if you know what you're doing, you don't get yourself into situations where you under voltage and wreck your battery. If you could get into that situation, you shouldn't be playing with those type of batteries. You should be using batteries that have that built in. That's what I personally believe. You know, for me to stick, apart from the fact I've got no space on a tiny Pico, for me to stick under voltage protection on there, which I could do, I'm also going to chew an extra 15 to 17 microamps. So I'm going to lose my deep sleep longevity by protecting the battery when you can just plug, like this battery here has under and over voltage protection. This battery will turn off when it gets below 3 volts, right? All the batteries I use have that. So, yeah. Woohoo, Euros, yeah. 2040 has Q SPI for external flash, 2 UARTs, 2 SPI, I2C, 16 PWMs, USB 1.1, and DMA. Right. So pretty much a regular microcontroller. Right? See you, Peter. Enjoy your errands. If I wanted HDMI, I would just use a Raspberry Pi Zero. Sure. Hey, Sam D. Yeah, something educational. There's, again, that space is really... Like, the RP2040 doesn't bring anything to that. And I think the education space now is also really a lot about connectivity. You know, doing basic stuff like traffic lights or whatever else is really cool, but teaching like kids or the education sector when it comes to electronics about connectivity is, I think, is people are a lot more interested in that. A Raspberry Pi Zero is not $5, just to be clear. It's never been $5. I don't know where you ever got where people were ever suggesting that from. Where's the cheapest place to buy a Raspberry Pi from? Any idea? Can you buy hardware? Buy a Raspberry Pi. I don't even know if they sell do they sell the Zero anymore? I don't know. Oh, they do. Raspberry Pi Zero without the W, right? The lowest cost. Raspberry Pi. Right, I can't buy it directly from them. So let's go to Core Electronics. My favorite local seller, $8.94. Okay, I mean it's cheap, absolutely. It's not $5. $8.94 plus shipping. Amazing price for sure. But, you know, remember when the Raspberry Pi was sold as a $20 computer? Raspberry Pi. Well, even a 3 Model B Plus is $58. Right? I don't know where they ever got $20 computer from. Yeah, maybe on Taobao. Hey, David Fletcher, Micro Center. Micro Center is selling Raspberry Pis. Pi Maroni, one was it euro? €175. Really? Oh, look at that. Tiny S2. Was it Pi Zero? $4.80. Where'd you get 175 from? £4.80. But okay, I guess that's £5. In Australia, nothing's that cheap. Yeah, maybe the Raspberry Pi 1 was €20. But right, €20, which is not $20. Anyway. Koala dollars. I never even saw the Raspberry Pi 1 for I think they were like $45 here. Okay, so just reading chat. Hello, Pixel Mint. Cool name. Some robot controller with motor driver. But why would yeah? There's much better stuff for out. Like a Teensy is much better for a robot controller, or an SP32 if you want. Excuse me, Wi-Fi or connectivity. You want Bluetooth. You need to be able to communicate with it to get data back from it. I was hoping to, yeah. I mean, this whole discussion, interestingly, is where my head's been at on the why I've not jumped on the 2040 stuff, because I've not been able to think of anything that really goes, wow, that's a really good idea. Like, that could be really useful to people. I can't think of what that is. You know, and not because it's a 2040. Like, I'm kind of the same with it. Like, you know, there's a reason I haven't jumped on, you know, started playing with the SAMD50 ones, right? Because, you know, why? Or even STM32. Like, I designed a couple of STM32, like tiny STM32 boards ages ago. Never did anything with them. Why? Because what are you going to do with it? Like, the second you remove for me anyway, the second you remove connectivity from it, what can you do with it other than drive NeoPixels? Like, you know what I mean? Hey, Digicool Things. The 2040 could have definitely brought in a whole bunch of new people, which is great. Hey, Alan. How about an environmental sensor? But why would you want an environmental sensor interface without connectivity? Like, how would you communicate with it to get the data off it? Right, but what's PIO useful for, Cable Tie? I mean, okay, video output, which is why I was looking. What else is it useful for? I'm not saying it's not useful for a whole suite of stuff, but they're very specific, right? Like, you know, okay, sure, you could maybe build some instrumentation type platform, sure, but that's a very specific thing, right? No, PIO is not just I/O. I/O is controlled by the CPU and managed by the CPU, and has CPU overhead when you do anything with it, where PIO isn't. USB switch individually controllable, but you can buy a USB IC, like host IC, for like $3 that you can build like an 8-port USB switch out of. You know, and you don't have to write firmware for it, where you'd have to write all the firmware inside that. That's what I'm saying. That becomes a software problem, not a hardware problem. PO for hardware hacking interfacing. Exactly. To what though? PO is programmed I/O. You need to program it correct, but it runs separately to the CPU. Right? Like you're programming a separate peripheral. So the overhead on the CPU is minimal, right? Other than transferring data to it and back, and syncing it all, that's it. Like the CPU is freed up, which is why PIO is really cool. Vacuum tube tester. Yeah, for my box of vacuum tubes. This city of the PIO might be attractive. Right, but then there's already 20 boards out there that has got an RP2040 on it that has PIO. So, like, why would I bring another board out if that's all it's got is just the board with the chip? How about an artsy badge? I think my badge making days are over, maybe. Helmet, exactly right. That's what PIO is really good for and what interests a lot of people, and that's a software thing, not a hardware thing. You could do that on any existing RP2040 board right now. The hardware is irrelevant. If you've got the I/O and you write the software and you stick some wires on, does that make sense? Some idea with NFC. But why with a 2040 still? Like, what would you want to do with NFC that again didn't need some type of radio or something else to go with it? Exactly, cable tie. I wasn't looking for a specific application then. Like PIO is great, but like for me, with the HDMI, that's the use of PIO, and the HDMI output gives people the ability to plug a screen in and do something with it if they wanted to, whatever level they could do that. It's the 3D barcode scanner to USB. Farhan's got an idea. Yep. Use a PIO to drive a hub matrix panels, except for the serial data. These are usually driven with software I/O. RP2040 with a wireless charger. Okay, but what are you going to do with the board? Like, well, firstly, okay, well, you understand how big it needs to be to use a wireless charger, right? Like, it's you need a massive, like, yeah, like the board would have to be at least this big, right, to be able to get wireless charging coil on the board to be able to wireless charge. Game Programmer 79 says, consider adding a small FPGA on the board as well. Sure. Yeah, but did you call things? I'd rather do that with an ESP32. If I was going to build a board like that, which I'm not going to, because there's, again, like the Adafruit have got that space kind of wrapped up. You know, the microbit and the Circuit Playground Express and stuff like that. Like, I can't compete with any of those products. But that's the same thing again, Electron Ash. Great, I'll make an FPGA board. What am I going to do with it? I'll stick an FPGA on a board with an ESP32 and give it to someone, and what are they going to do with it? The PO testing boards for testing each of the... Yeah, I wouldn't use PIO for testing. Like, PIO is for independent stuff running, right? Teleportation device. Yes! That's it. Got it. Teleportation device. Let's get started. Yeah, I don't know anything about DSP, and you can get dedicated DSP stuff. Like, you know, you can get... I don't know if the Raspberry, if the 2040 would be any good as it for DSP. I'm not sure the PIO stuff is big enough to do, like, how much code you can stick in there for something like a DSP. Digital things, right? But there's already stacks of people with stacks of RP2040 boards out there. Like, for me, yeah, I wanted to build a board to have experience of building one, and I've built stacks of boards, and it's got to have something on it that I haven't done before, which is why I thought HDMI would be really good, right? Because I've not done HDMI before, even if I never ship the board. You know what I mean? Johnny wants Ethernet. Well, you got to wait for bit loonies. Wireless coils, 15mm diameter from RS. Right, but 15mm is still almost the width of my board, and yeah, or Ethernet without PoE. What for, though? I mean, sure, but... Digital things. Well, I'm pretty sure the smallest board's already been done. I think the Pi only boards. Is that smaller than the Cutie Pi? What do they call it? Tiny 2040? I mean, that's pretty small. They could have made it smaller if they didn't put the castellated pins on. And how big is it? 22 by 18. Oh, interesting. It's really not much smaller than a Tiny Pico, or width-wise it's not. It's wider than a Tiny Pico. But that's because of the castellated edges, and it's shorter, but it's got nothing on it, right? I mean, it's very cool, but yeah, I just they stole my branding. Yeah, that's okay. For because there's not enough memory and stuff to do that, and it would have to be an input and an output. Maybe not. Yeah, no. I mean, you need a Raspberry Pi for that. Even a Raspberry Pi is not fast enough to drive enough pixels to do that, to process the image coming in. Yeah, it's a microcontroller, not a computer. You need a computer for that. So interestingly, Core Electronics just released a video about that. Was it yesterday? They literally released a video. Let me find it. YouTube. Ooh, watching. 143 people watching. Core Electronics. Oh, Zach's streaming. I didn't know Zach was streaming. Here. This one here, reactive screen with blink lights. It's going to start playing. This they released it yesterday. I'm going to put it in here. Yeah, you need a Raspberry Pi to do it. Passively listen to HDMI, but yeah, you need to process the whole image anyways, and then drive the LEDs. Yeah, and there wouldn't be enough memory to. I mean, even if you'd have to somehow grab the image and completely downscale it. You are fashionably late, Mike. Yeah, no, there wouldn't be enough memory to do that. Oh, cool. Zach is insane. PLC Industrial Protocol Sniffer can. Again, that's all a software thing, Chris. None of that is hardware. Like, honestly, like you can take this right now, where I put it, as it is, and just use that, right? You just need to connect some wires, and then the rest of it it's a software problem. Oh, I didn't think it was going to be this hard. I thought you'd all love the HDMI thing. Oh well. It's all interface hardware, but it's all done in software. Like, PIO is software, not hardware. If you want to use PIO to grab and look at that data, that's software. You have to write all that. Does that make sense? No, I'm not talking about that stuff. No, we're talking about for the Raspberry Pi 2040, right? Anyway, yeah, but yeah, okay. Wrong direction, Chris, for anything I'm looking at wanting to do. So, what peripheral will you add? Something I2C SPI. I don't know, because again, okay, so yeah, I don't. Wi-Fi HDMI is not a combo. Hey Dreamer, well, no, it's not, but that's because there isn't any microcontrollers out there with Wi-Fi that can do HDMI. Can't HDMI include Ethernet with those? Nah, don't think so. What do I think makes the chip so special? I don't know, because I haven't jumped on it yet. Like I don't have any use for PIO on the chip at all. Like for any of the stuff I do, I can't think of one thing I could use PIO for that would be a benefit to me in any of the stuff that I make, right? That's the thing. And so all it is then is an MCU that's, sure, it's cheap. It's really not cheaper than an ESP32, and an ESP32 gives me more and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So I think there's already some HDMI support. I definitely wouldn't write a library for it, but there's other people out there that could. So dead board that makes it easy to access all the features of the chip. It's already been done. It's any board that's got an RP2040 on it with all the I/O broken out. What about the debug probe idea? Because they're already done. Like why would I wouldn't want to do that with an RP2040 because it's a software problem. Again, so I haven't even shown this. I've not even opened it because I haven't had time. But like, I wouldn't want to see a DIY in the ghetto. Thanks for joining. So I got myself one of these. I got myself a Tigard. I have not even opened it, right? Because I have not had time. And it's once I've opened it and start playing with it, it's a rabbit hole, which is fine. So that's exactly what this is. Okay, this is an everything connected to everything, sniffer, probe, everything. Right, but the thing is, you can't do it with an RP2040 without all the rest of the stuff. Or if you want to try, it's a software thing, not a hardware thing. That's the point, right? I'm not looking for a software project. I'm not looking to make an end product. I was looking to make something that other people could play with and do stuff with. What about LoRa? So you get an RP2040 and you stick a LoRa module on it, right? Okay, well, I can do that with anything. Like, what would be the advantage of an RP2040 with LoRa over anything else with LoRa? And all of the hundreds of products that are already out there with LoRa. Right, and the Glasgow is this times 1,000, right? Or maybe not 1,000, but, sure. Ooh, nice stickers. And I got the extra cable pack with it. Comes with a whole bunch of different cables. So, yeah, I mean, this has all been done. I get that the reason this costs this is because it's a product that has all of the software and all of the capabilities already, right? Sticking an RP2040 on a board, breaking out all the pins and giving it to someone does not make a sniffer, thinger, whatever. Right, C Studio's got a module that's got STM32 and LoRa already in it. Like, Have a switch for something to swap between HID and host mode. Novelty size, a jumbo one, jumbo 2040. So call it the big 2040. Yeah, Mark plays around with Laura. How about making the world's biggest and feature-bloated RP2040 board? Mega RP2040. Yeah, but then why use an RP2040? Someone already has a big board, do they? USB thumb drive in the shape of a thumb. Ah. 2040 in Uno form factor. I wish the Uno form factor died. HID using USB is the most interesting use application I could think of for the RP2040. Okay, but you can do that already with so many other things. You can do HID with an ESP32S2. You can do it with the SAMD. I mean, there's already 100 boards out there that you can do HID. So, like, why is it that any different or better with an RP2040 5x5 time read emulator? Yeah, I know the giant board. Right, okay, yep. Yeah, so I'm reading. I'm not just staring off into space. Make a board with a ROM full of no-op instructions, mark it as a coffee warmer. Kevin, that's pretty funny. That's actually pretty funny. But that already exists, Hybotics. Go check out Adafruit's webpage. They've already got 3 different 2040s. Their Feather version has circuit, as battery stuff, has stemmer connector. An RP2040 cluster. Assuming for a second I'm going to put a HDMI port on this. What's the vote on mini over micro? Is there a vote? Okay, we've got one mini. A tiny RP2040 Nano. So a drop-on board. But that's... all of the boards, like Pimeroni's one's got castellated edges. Like... no, there's no full. Forget, I didn't offer full. There's mini or micro. SCART. Macro. Oh, you guys. Now, Adafruit aren't one step ahead of the competition. They just jumped on the RP2040 straight away, like quite a few people did, right? Which is fine. Wait, what? Cable tie, you're actually talking about a nano, but why? But why would you want an RP2040 nano when you've got nothing on it, like compared to my current nano? No, you need to the Pixel Mint. No, you need to pretty much put your own. I don't know if the DAC's really good enough. I think the implementation that was done for DVI, did it have a separate? Yeah, cable tie. Sorry, did it have a separate resistor ladder? I can't remember. I don't know. I don't know what the point of an RP2040 Nano would be. Like, what would you get out of it? Okay, HID or native USB, sure, but and PIO. And do a RIP. What's a RIP 2040? Yeah, I mean, people have made carrier boards for the Pico board, right? That for all sorts of stuff. Magic smoke generator. Sure, I'm selling stacks of nanos, but it's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Can I please post a link about USB-C plus HDMI? Yep, go for it. Right, so I can't do, like for a nano, I can't do stacks of pins, right? Yeah, I don't want to make a feather, 2040 feather. Catch you later, Technolog. So is it mini or micro? If I can get a stemmer connector on the side. Maybe. Yeah, I've got those cables, Mark. I've got micro to normal and mini to normal. Yeah, I know HDMI is not native. It uses PIO, absolutely. Right, okay, yeah. So Mark was just posting this. Well, Raspberry Pi have an official one, don't they? I lost that page that I was on. Yeah, Mark was just posting this, that you can get official micro to HDMI and you can get mini to HDMI. I mean, that makes it perfectly fine. Like, I don't understand why micro is a problem for people. I mean, look how cheap that is as for a HDMI cable. They break. What breaks, the cable or the connector? Really? No, I wouldn't use the metal tabs, like a peg leg version. I'm looking at the this one. This is the I'll show you. This is a Worth one. Oops. DG key. Right, this is the one. I'll be looking peg leg only. No, I don't do SMD connectors. SMD connectors break off. They're terrible. Doesn't matter how much solder you put on them, they break off. I'm not saying this can't be ripped off, but it's 4 peg legs. Input 8 Raspberry Pi. Hey Stuart, but what would that be useful for, or who would that be useful for? Seems extremely niche. Hypotics, there has to be flash because the RP2040 doesn't come with any flash. And if you want a stemmer connector, it makes it kind of hard. Unless it's, well, that's what I've got here. So here's mini, that's mini HDMI, stemmer connector, there's the flash. I need to swap out the chip, that's still an ESP S2. 2 buttons, USB-C. It's a longer board, right? I might be able to get it a bit shorter, I don't know. I might be able to break out some more I/O, maybe not. It's not half designed. This is my tiny S2. But a lot of the stuff would stay. I mean, the RP2040 is the same 7mm, 7x7 sock. So, you know, and the S2 uses an external crystal. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff, it'd have to be rerouted and all the pins would have to change. But a lot of this stuff would stay. It's got all my charge circuitry, backfeed protection, everything else. So it makes sense to work from this as my reference point. HDMI photo reel, turn any HDMI device screen into a photo frame slideshow. Photos have to be added via USB. See, there you go. I mean, but you could just use this board and stick it on a screen and that's, you've got that, right? But you could also do that with a high-speed SPI screen, I guess. It doesn't have to be HDMI. I don't like the idea of having the HDMI off to the side, personally. I also don't like the idea of having any cables off to the side, which is why I like the micro next to the thing. I mean, this isn't going to give me a lot of advantage. And I don't want the flash so far away from the chip, right? The flash needs to be closer to the chip. But, you know, even if I did this, that doesn't really solve anything for me. Oops. Like, it's still going to need this big. So, a male full-size plug. Really? Let me grab a full-size plug. What? Open Library Manager. Why am I wanting to make a small board? Because I'd like to make something compatible with the rest of my boards so then people can leverage that. Like, why make it a new format? What's the point of making a new format? Otherwise, I could just put it on a feather format, right? I thought about just doing it on a feather format. But the problem with the feather format is you're limited on pins, how many pins you can have. What do I want? Worth. Where's the... Oh, available. Oops. Interesting. Why has my libraries disappeared? That's bizarre. Okay, maybe I could just change one of these. Package. No. I seem to be missing some libraries on this machine, which is weird because they're all connected via Dropbox. Yeah, I'm missing the Worth library. Worth Electronics. See, this should be built in. Oh, because I'm offline. Because I haven't signed in. Can it not be a HDMI dongle board like a Fire Stick? Sure, but what makes a Fire Stick useful is it's got a radio on it. And if this doesn't have a radio on it, what's the point? I don't know where my... I have to sign in. This is so frustrating. Go online, and now it's going to want me to go through the whole stupid process. Yep. Signed me out. Every 2 weeks, Autodesk signs me out. So I'm just logging in. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Sorry. Now it's going to send me a thing to my phone. Well, there is no upgrade for Eagle. It's pretty dead now, let me tell you. 527081. Verifying. Rocket propelled. What? Rocket propelled. Told you I want to make rockets. Rockets would be cool. Now it's fetching all the libraries. I hate that. Eagle's 360. I'm not a fan. Oh. Oh, which one was it? Oh. That one. Catch you later, Tishipu. Every time I go on the screen, it's got to redo this. So it isn't there. Maybe they've renamed it. Wow, okay. HDMI. Right. There's a full-size HDMI port. Sorry that took so long. Oh, maybe. Look at that. Maybe it does fit. I mean, the board will have to be bigger again. Can't fit the stemmer. So there's no stemmer if I do this. Unless I really pull the board out further. That's making a really long board now though. $57 by 17.8. I mean, it makes assembly easier. Much more forgiving. Pin header. I still have to stick a whole bunch of capacitors here. I've got there's an RGB LED here still. Probably want to move that out of the way. Stick it over here. I'd buy one now, plug it in my TV and muck around. Yeah, BPS is a great channel. Oh, okay, so full-size HDMI. Wonder how much they are. Because these aren't cheap. Like $2.30. That's AUD. None available. Well, that makes it a bit harder, doesn't it? Can I power it over HDMI? I don't think so. Send you a link to a HDMI connector I use. Yeah, please do, Mark. Because none of these. Yeah, they've only got normal size HDMI. They didn't have mini or micro, which I was looking at DigiKey. Yeah, I don't think you can power over HDMI. I don't think you can get enough power. I don't think HDMI can provide. You'll need like 150 milliamps at least. Yeah, HDMI 2.1, but what's if they're not running 2.1? Right. 2.1 is 300 milliamps. So what's if they're plugging it into a TV that is running 1.4? What can you get from that? Yeah, so 55 to 100 milliamps is going to brown out. Okay, Mark's using the Boom Electric ones. Oh, that's much cheaper. I've actually got stuff in my cart. So maybe I should stick some in my cart. Let's stick 100 in my cart. There you go. Hey Peter, adding ESD protection in the USB. No, not on this board. There's no room for it. Why do I need ESD protection? What are you going to plug it into? Yeah, the Worth library is great, and their connectors are fantastic. Right. HDMI dongle with a BLE keyboard connected how? Chinese power adapter. Does anyone know what power consumption, like the minimum power consumption the 2040 requires? For keyboard applications which may be repeatedly unplugged. You mean for HID applications? Not really what these are for. But why would you repeatedly unplug your keyboard? My Pro S3 has got ESD protection on it. There's no, I mean, well, when I say there's no room, like this board's going to get out of control. Sure. I mean, it's a pretty unique case, like use case, Peter. I've got a reel of some ST ESD chips here, but they're reserved for my Pro S3. Not really looking at putting them on anything else right now, especially because I can't buy any more of them. The full-size HDMI just is going to be massive. It's going to make the board look really crazy, but I get that pretty much everyone's got HDMI cables, so sure. 4 milliamps flat out on the 2040. So I'd have to stick either so I'd have to put a power switch like I've got on VBAT to have it use USB if USB is connected, otherwise use HDMI for power. Yeah, 70 milliamps is going to be a problem on HDMI. Because you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. And then what'll happen? Will it brown out? Page 653. Mark is saying go to page 650, 653, oh, 635. God, I'm dyslexic. Power consumption. Right. What's popcorn? I don't know what popcorn is. What's popcorn? Hey Wayne, some TV USB ports will turn off if not enough current is drawn. Sure. But to stick current detection on here, I'm also going to chew battery. Sorry, not battery. I'm going to draw power, chew power to check power. Demo VGA project or something. Right, okay. So they're saying with popcorn, is 35.5 milliamps. Heavily depending on the video being displayed at the time, the typical value is obtained over several seconds of video varied color intensity. The maximum value is measured during of white video when the required current is at its highest. They reckon 35.5. Oh, is it the two of them together, is it? Okay. So around 50 something. Okay, so maybe. So I'd have to do something similar to what I've got here. But we're going to get a voltage drop down anyway. So I'd have to put... sure. So this would be whatever it's going to be called, HDMI 5 volts, and this is ground. And that's USB. Okay, so when USB is connected, HDMI 5 volts will turn off. Well, no, it won't. That's the problem. I'm going to have to stick another diode in line. Jumanji. I'm going to have to put back-to-back FETs on here. That's the problem, because I don't want to backfeed the HDMI. Oh, okay, I could probably do this. I could probably go swap these around. HDMI 5 volts. That'll have to be USB. So that won't backfeed. No. Sorry, that's V-bus. So and then no. Yeah, look, I'm not saying that it should be kept. If we keep forgetting to program the chip on the displays, so it won't work with a PC. What? I'm not saying it should be done by HDMI. I'm curious now whether it could be and what the what it would do. So HDMI won't leak to V-bus unless that's there, but V-bus will leak. So I need need another diode here. No. No! Click. Oh, somehow I've got my scale out of alignment. Somehow. Okay, so that is HDMI 5 volts. Okay, so got HDMI 5 volts coming in, and it will not work if USB is present. If USB is not present, then HDMI will go in, but it won't backfeed. So it's been blocked by the two body diodes. So put a PTC on the HDMI 5 volts coming in. Can definitely do that. 1206. Ugh, big. Okay. So that's HDMI 5 volt protected, and that's HDMI 5 volts. Okay. Something that would turn any random HD display into an SDR control node would be cool. What is that? TI, open a new window to meet the 5 volt source requirement. Upgrade the audio and video. Source of sync, application report view. Right, okay, cool. Right, and that's the other thing. It's going to need some, what size? I can't put electrolytics on this. So I'm going to have to, the decoupling is going to have to be via ceramic. Source on the left protects the system in the event of a short on TP1, TP2. List the rules. Are they rules? Reverse protection on the HDMI. Yep. Still started 55 milliamps. Catch you, Peter. Have a good night's sleep, mate. Are we going in the direction of a media player? No, not really. I don't think the RP2040 is fast enough to do much visually. Okay, I'll have a read through this, Johnny. Thank you. Okay. Well, if we're going full size, we can get rid of those. I guess I should put the RP2040 on, shouldn't I? Because right now I've got the right, I need to know where this is. What is the position of this? Okay, I need an RP2040. Sorry, I'm just grabbing. really matter which one I grab. Wow. It's a lot of decoupling on that. Okay, I'm just lifting this off. Let's rather doing the close from the buffer. No. Sure. Sure. I'll fix you later. Two hours time for a coffee. I didn't even finish my current coffee, but yeah, it might be time for a coffee. By the way, my PCB order shipped yesterday. Oh, I forgot to show you all. Just quickly, I got my keycaps. I bought keycaps for my test jigs, and I got these. These are silent mechanical. Can anyone hear that? It's next to the microphone. So I got 10 of them. And so the key switches, and I've got keycaps coming. So I bought myself some silent. They're silent enough. I didn't really want loud mechanical. Oh, they sent me a sticker. Anyway, I got these from Switch Keys. Wasn't too bad. Well, that was close. So I got it from Switch Keys. $15.50 for 10 of them. They're the Zelios V2 tactile switches. Zelios. I don't know anything about switch keys. So there you go. So I've got those, and my PCBs are on the way, which is exciting. It's a point of a mechanical keyboard if you can't annoy everyone with it within 20. Yeah, well, there's only me, but I get annoyed by it. I don't like the sound of mechanical switches. I don't know them either. I don't know anything about mechanical switches, but I just wanted something that was quietish and something that were local, something I could get easily. I've got 10 of them, so I can make 10 test jigs. No, the keycaps, they were supposed to be here in 4 days, and they, I don't know, it's now scheduled for another week away. I don't know. Bloody eBay. I bought them off eBay. I basically just got, whoa. God, Adafruit used big stuff. I gotta stop. Hang on. Not in the same spot. I don't know what orientation it needs to be though, but we'll find out shortly. That's interesting. Why is it not snapping to the center when I do it that way? Okay, so you can go away. Don't need you now. Okay, I'm getting rid of this crystal. So I'm using my own. And Xtel P and Xtel N. So that's Xtel, that'll be P. Assume in is P. I'll have to double check these in the data sheet. Okay, so that's for the crystal. And reset, I've already got to pull up on reset. So building up a baseboard with no connectivity options, but with HDMI out for an unknown reason other than Sion wants to scratch his HDMI itch. Yeah, I guess. I mean, sure, like... Ooh, Bruce has got a holy moly. This is what Bruce just sent. This is his key switch tester. Pretty much every type of key, he said. That's pretty cool. I'm not, as I said, I'm not a mechanical switch guy at all. At all. So of course, none of this I/O makes any sense now. So it's time to rip it all up. I need D plus and D minus. Don't want to rip those up yet. Like, I don't know if there's any point having a HDMI RP2040 board. I really don't. But I can't honestly think of anything better to do right now if I'm going to do anything with one. So you know, might as well. I was thinking about cherry browns, but yeah. Well, it's going to be more than just HDMI. I mean, it's got full battery management and I don't know. This might not ever see the light of day. Simple as that. Where is D plus D minus out of curiosity? TX, RX. Is there no D plus and D minus? Oh, over there, right. A lot more space on this one. I can tell you that. Tell you that much. It's a much smaller center pad because it obviously doesn't run anywhere near as hot as an ESP32, which is good. That's not good though. That they're flipped around. That's actually rather annoying. I wish there was some consistency on things like USB connector pin placement, like having D plus and D minus instead of D minus and D plus, etc., etc. Okay. Okay, I'm missing a whole bunch of chat, but I think it's all about mechanical switches, so I'm okay with that, I think. So I bet you the crystal's on the wrong side. Oh no, it's here. Wait. Where's the external N? Did I not name that? Oh, right. Right. There's this 1K resistor, which I really don't... Really? I mean, apart from the fact that it's massive. Does it really need the resistor? It's for harmonics reduction, but really? Look how close I am. I feel like it's unnecessary. And I don't have any room to squeeze it in. See, in the, like the, again, with crystals, like why are they, like the SP32 uses negative, positive, and this is using positive, negative. Like, why is there no consistency on pin order? Frustrating. Really frustrating. You know, everyone, this is going to take me ages to get all this working, right? Just saying. If anyone's expecting me to finish a board today, it's not going to happen. I'm getting rid of the... before with a parallel printer port connector. Catch you later, James. That's really funny. Well, the other option is I can just make a HDMI breakout board that you can use on any Raspberry Pi board, right? Any 2040 board. Maybe I should just do that. Just make a HDMI breakout. Then people can use it for anything, right? I can even put a stemmer connector on it because... Catch you later, Mr. Who 30. Like, you got I2C on the HDMI bus anyway, so I could just do a breakout. Olinex have that, or at least are planning that. They have what? Bruce? Was that in response to me? Catch you later, Fred. Oh, the end of the game is weeks and weeks away at this rate, I reckon. HDMI SD card. Oh, right, okay. Well, that's what I was just thinking of doing. Like, maybe that's better than trying to make an all-in-one board. That PTC is huge. Huge whale? Who's huge whale? Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's a bit different than what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking to plug in a board. No. Okay. This is what Bruce was talking about. I wasn't thinking of that. I mean, that's crazy. I was thinking of just a separate board. Right? That you could... Okay, maybe SparkFun has got one. No, not the micro mod. We spoke about that before. Yeah, not the... Yeah, I'm talking about just a separate board with a header on it that you can just wire to any other board. And sure, I mean, doing HDMI over DuPont cables sounds bad. But, yeah, no, I wasn't thinking like this. That's locked into the Pico board, which I get, they've sold lots of them. But again, it's been done again and again and again and again and again. Yeah. RP2040 be useful as a coprocessor on an ESP board. How would you flash it though? How would you control it? Not really. Coprocessor, like you'd need an interface to be able to flash it. So you're talking about two independent micros on the same board with some type of bridge for them to talk to each other. Panel mount HDMI socket breakout. It's kind of cute actually. Right. I mean, I was thinking of something kind of like that. I like that port though. That's actually quite clever. $20.40 coffee reminder. Yeah, I could definitely do with another coffee. But every time I go and get a coffee, everyone disappears off my stream. It's okay. We're going down now. We're down to 85 now, I think. That's okay. Like, I want to do this now. Like, I feel like I want to, for no other good reason than I'm going to regret removing that resistor. I know I'm going to regret it. Michael's going to stay. Why is Aaron saying sorry to Chris? The ESP, well, could bit bang the flash on the 2040, yes, but how are you going to develop for the 2040? Like, how are you going to do that? Like, how are you going to develop for the 2040, get that code, put it in a program on the ESP32 somehow that can then bit bang it to the RP2040, and it would still have to control the ESP32 would have to control the boot modes of the RP2040 and all that type of, I mean, it sounds like stick an FPGA on. Like, why would you put a 2040 on? Just put a ESP32 with an FPGA, which has again been done before. Right, I'm saying, what's the point of doing that? I don't get why you'd want an RP2040 coprocessor on an ESP32 board that you'd have to go through all of that rigmarole to be able to use it. Right? It would be, you know, when something like an FPGA is designed to just be able to automatically take a bit stream. That's my thoughts on that, you know. So I'm going to have to stick a whole bunch of caps on all the I/O for this. I need 0.1 microfarad caps. Now I was thinking of sticking, I'm going to need like 8 of them or something, of sticking 0201 caps on. Nominal density. I can't use, well, no, these are caps. Oh, whoops, I'm in the wrong screen. You can't get cap arrays, just resistor arrays. Not that I know of. I don't see how you could do a cap array, personally. 0201. See, now I've got no 02. Because it won't be under that, will it? No. What will it be under? I can't remember. Bum, bum. Too much stuff in this library. It's become a mess. I have to clean it up at some point. So where did I find it? It's under, what's res CO201? Under, okay, maybe we can just do it on here. They exist, Xeon, passive. Okay, hang on. I've never seen them before, but there you go. Nice find, Aaron. Yeah. Capacitor array. I would have thought you would end up with one big capacitor. So Mark wants to know if I'm just making a different form factor of this. What is a Pico DVI? I've never been... Oh, right. Well, no. Well... So Mark... Okay, so the Pico DVI is... It's a HDMI connector, but it's using DVI, not HDMI. And... Well, no, not really, because like, what else can you do with this? Like, it's got a couple of PMOD connectors. Like, it's got no battery charging. So, yeah, I mean, not really. What? LCCF cap arrays as well? Do you have a link, Bruce? I've never seen them. Oh, maybe I just never looked. I thought I looked ages ago. Yeah, anyway. Cap arrays, okay. Ooh, look at the packages. Oops. God, I hate misclicking this thing. 100 nanofarad. Oh, 10%. Number of capacitors, 4. Interesting. I mean, I'd much prefer to place that than to place, like, 2 of those than to place 4 or place 8 0201 caps. I've got a whole bunch of 0201 caps, like it. Yeah. A lot of 0201, all sorts of stuff, which I've yet to do anything with. So, not that I necessarily want to. Oh, look how small that is. That's an 0402 next over here. 0402, 0201. That's crazy. But I could get these in line. Actually, one, two, three, four, five, six. That's not right. Clock doesn't need. Do the data shields need? I don't think the data shields need caps. I'd have to work out where they all go. Yeah, you need caps on the HDMI port. I gotta wire up all the I/O and work out which one's which. I'm just curious to know how close I'm gonna have to get them. Someone earlier just used 720R resistors, but I've seen caps. Yeah, but that's for a DVI, isn't it? Like, all the reference stuff I've seen uses caps. This is going to get really squishy. Thinking silicon shortage, I went to reorder some more STM8 stock from LCSC. Last order was 26 each. Now they're $2.59. Wow. Right, okay. Electron Ash, thanks. It'll be much easier to use resistor arrays. About a HID board to make custom keyboard for USB bridge to make isolated. Or USB bridge to make isolated file storage. You mean like a USB thumb drive? I mean, there's stacks of people working on custom keyboard stuff. Like that's not my wheelhouse, like custom keyboards. And there are already lots of people working on HID based or external keyboards of all different types, using all sorts of different boards. Like I don't see how like a board like that would help. Like it's just like without the keyboard, a HID interface doesn't do anything, right? Hey Manuel. Well, not really. People use SAMDs now. It's about having a HID device. So, I need to sit and think about whether this is even really worth it. I just don't know. I think it might be a total waste of time. Total waste of time. Designer's remorse setting in. Sure. Like, I can't see myself making this. I mean, making one maybe, but I can't really see. Yeah, it's been a good discussion. Absolutely. I just can't see what this would be, honestly. Yeah. Catch you later, Cable Tie. Have a good day at work. I need to chat with you later about catching up. Hey, Jessica. Been trying to work out what type of Raspberry Pi or RP2040 board I could make. And here's a board that has potentially, it's my Tiny Pico footprint, so it's compatible with my Tiny Pico boards, but it has HDMI output on it as well, and a stemmer connector that could possibly be powered by HDMI as well, maybe. Hey, Wagon Loads. Tiny Pico. Thanks, Mark. I'm going to buy some HDMI sockets for sure, but what am I going to do with them? I don't know. But thank you for that, Mark. Appreciate it. No, I do want to make it. I don't know if I want to make them make it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not sure. It's always hard to know. Hard. Like, it's hard to know where to invest my time. Yeah, I got it. The 2040. Very clever, Mark. What do you guys think about a Wi-Fi display? What do you mean a Wi-Fi display? We've been discussing ESP and RP2040 a lot, but I don't understand what you mean by a Wi-Fi display. No. I wasn't being sarcastic. I thought it was very clever. The 2040 you did. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Yes, I know that we were discussing that before, Jessica, but that's... I'm not sure there's enough room on the 2040 to do Ethernet as well as doing HDMI, like in terms of the PIO pins. That's not true, the embedded hobbyist. But you know what? Wearing glasses is nothing wrong with that. John Ash has excellent eyesight. That's really funny. 20 as a display renderer. Yeah, I understand that, but for what would you display on it? Like what would Wi-Fi give you that you, yeah. Like, you still need to power it. Like, you couldn't power it from the HDMI with an ESP32 on it. So you still have to plug in power to the board anyway. Like USB or whatever. And if that's the case, then what are you going to do with the Wi-Fi? The smallest, most underpowered VR headset. But that already exists. Like sorry, I know you just joined. But Arduino have got their RP2040 with, whoa, I've got chips coming from Espressive today. With a ESP32 module as for radios. So that's kind of already out there. Like, yeah. Yeah, I've got an original Oculus. Yeah, the dev kit here makes me sick as a dog whenever I try to use it. I should just sell it. So many decisions. Yeah, I never got a DK2. Yeah, I'm really susceptible to motion sickness. I can't do VR at all. Um, or not. I was actually doing VR dev for a little while on the PlayStation, and like every time I had to, like I was doing optimization for a VR game, and every time I had to put it on and play through, I could only do it for like 10 or 15 minutes. I had to whip it off my head. Yeah, it was really bad. Bad fit. Vocal bump and fall over. I used to get motion sickness from playing, yeah, just like third-person shooters just on a normal screen. If I turned my head too much when I was playing, I'd get quite ill. Yeah, but that doesn't make sense to stick one of them on this, like to stick a Pico onto this. Don't have the screen on at the moment. But for HDMI output, like that defeats the purpose, really. Like, I don't know. Firstly, it wouldn't fit, right? Because it'd be really long because of the HDMI port. You get motion sickness in elevators. Wow, I'm not that bad. I haven't lost enthusiasm, but I want to think on it more. I need to think on it more. RP Flow Master. Well, that's why I got chips originally, to stick one on a Reflow Master. Yeah. So the good news is this new PCB order that is coming, I have my still in not production boards, but my final Tiny I2C counter and clock boards coming that I get to build maybe on my stream next week. And then I've also got my test jig boards, the first version, and I've got a new board coming that only my patrons know about. It is a new feather format board that I've designed as a fallback to if I can't make Feather S2s because of the lack of flash that I can get at a reasonable price. But I might just make it anyway. So that's pretty exciting. Can you do a board for an electroplating cell to go with the Reflow Master, perhaps? Board for an electroplating cell. I don't know anything about electroplating, or like you're coming up with very precise, specific things, Chris. You never got it working. You couldn't flash. Oh, you built one, didn't you? You built your own, didn't you, Electronash, I think? Right, sure. PCB stencil leveler with, 2040. Yeah. So whatever became of your 962, did you originally build? Because yeah, I sold my T962 a couple of months ago to a guy in Melbourne who's designing and making his own hardware. So yeah, that went to a good home as well. So yeah, that's gone. Gone a few months ago. USB blaster. Not heard of that. Okay, I think I've run this stream to its course. Thank you all for joining. I sold the IR oven a few minutes ago. Look, it set out the garage doing nothing, and I needed the space. It was before my workbench came in. So, yeah. It's gone to a good home. It's being used, and I've seen pictures of what's being reflowed in it. It looks pretty good. It's audio-based stuff the guy does. Yeah, and yeah, I'm happy that it went somewhere. Did you get it running reliably? Oh, it was running reliably. It just, you can't evenly heat. That's the problem with it. Rob Elliott. No, I don't know who Rob Elliott is. It just can't reflow evenly across the whole thing. Like, you can only use a small section in the middle of it. It's just uneven heating because of the way the elements work. It was reliable, like it would do the same every time, but I mean, I needed continuous reflowing, putting a board in, reflowing, waiting for it to cool down, open, take it out, put another board in, close it. Like, that's, yeah. An audio Aussie. No. Okay, Rod Elliott. Never heard of him. No, it wasn't him. Well, I didn't put individual small boards in. I'm reflowing panels. Reflowing panels, and you don't get even reflow across the panels. Sound AU. Okay, I'll look it up. Never heard of him, but okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, my plan was always to get a conveyor oven, which I got. I'm really borderline. I really want to buy a stencil, like an automatic stencil printer. Knock my wall out and extend. I'm close. Yeah, I think that's my next step. Yeah, that's a bad attraction. Digicool things. It's yeah, don't do it. Works out quite expensive in the end by the time you've done it all. Who was it that dabbed the solder paste? I can't remember. Was that... Oh, Bit Looney? No. Was it... I know John Oxer, he pasted 3 times. I wonder why he got bridges. It's fine if you're just doing a few boards, absolutely. You're not doing large boards or you're not doing panels because you get inconsistencies across the panel. Then it's fine. I mean, I used it for ages. It was fine. Not a problem. No, the boards are on the way. They left... Well, I don't even know if they got picked up. I got a notification yesterday from JLC PCB, but, you get a notification and then 2 days later it actually gets picked up. Let's find out if it's been picked up. But I do have chips arriving from Espressive today. So that's exciting. Got an order coming in. So, order history. It says shipped. Picked up by the courier. Yesterday at 5 o'clock. In the afternoon. Excellent. So it's on its way. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that. Got a whole bunch of stuff in there. Oh, and inside that order as well is my production boards for my Explorer Shield. So I'm going to do a first run of Explorer Shields. So, at some point, I don't know when, because the pick and place is busy. And to do the Explorer shields, I have to take half the components off, and I can't do that right now because I've got too many boards to make. No, you can do lead free. You can do SAC 305 in the 9s. You want the 962A, not the 962, if you're going to do SAC 305. Personally, like there's only the 2 elements in the 962. It's just not enough. And you want to get the unit with the new exhaust output because it stinks really bad. Could the RP2040 be used as a capture card? Seeing someone turn a capture card into a capture card? Not really. Well, it depends what you're capturing. Like, you couldn't even capture 1080p reliably with it. There's not enough memory. Like, you couldn't capture a screen full of data. Yeah, there's not enough RAM. What ICs, or are they secret? Which ones? Oh, the ones that are coming. PS RAM, Pico D4s, and my next supply of my ESP32 S2 FN4 R2, which has got the built-in flash and RAM for my tiny S2, and that chip is also going to be on my new Feather board, which maybe I'll build one next week on stream. Maybe. It's very cool. You couldn't stream it to SD card. No, not fast enough. Maybe EMC, you could, maybe. I mean, or to Flash. Could you stream it to Flash fast enough? You could write to the Flash at 80 megahertz, so maybe. No, the 962A has extra heating elements. How about a competition? Who can remember the longest part number? Oh, I can't remember any part numbers ever, so I'm out of that one. Did I ever design an S3 Tiny Pico for when they become available in like 5 years? I haven't, no, because they won't be available for a long time. The chip I need for the S3 won't be available for for a tiny S3 won't be available for a long time. But my Pro S3 and my Feather S3 are designed, yes. Yes, although I'm thinking of tweaking both slightly. Yes, I can't remember part numbers. Except for CP2094-F03-GMR, because I've typed that into search engines a million times over the last little while. But, audio is capture and output something. Capture possibly. I mean, output you'd want to. Oh right, so okay. So like a visualizer, so I2S in, but you could just use a microphone for that. You mean like an I2S microphone, or are you talking about actual capturing an I2S bit stream? Because how would you get that? Where would you get that from? But doing like an audio visualizer, well, sure. There's already stacks of those, like ESP32 ones and stuff. So Chris just posted this on Discord. This VLM project. Yeah, I'm just showing it here, Chris. Yeah, again, pretty niche. I mean, I love visualizers, but yeah. That's pretty cool. La, my soft. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to get back to work. I've got stacks of production boards that I need to work on. And those and those, and thank God my last one of these. Got boards everywhere because they're all different people's orders. And as soon as this order comes in from Expressive today, I've got another 300 boards I need to build. So I'm waiting on these chips for. Is there a way to drive a BCD display using I2C? Well, you could use... Sure, you could make a driver for it. Like you could take a tiny chip that can control a PCD and turn that into an I2C slave, like I do with my display boards. No worries, Mark. I've got it. A Raspberry Pi ESP32 plus STM32 hat for the RP2040. Yeah, Raspberry Pi hat for the RP2040. That'd be funny. How about for a what? Oh, are we talking about the long part names? I don't even know what that is. What is that, Embedded Hobbyist? Okay. Conversation's going way left field. Folks, thanks for joining. I was really hoping that we would find some amazing thing we could do with an RP2040, like actually amazing, but broad appeal. And doesn't seem to be anything. I might tinker away with this still. If I do, I'll post some updates about it on my Discord. So if you're not on my Discord, join the Discord. If you want to know what I'm working on behind the scenes and get sneak peeks of stuff, then check out my Patron. I don't like talking about advertising it, but I'm on Patron. Check it out. I generally do 1 to 2 videos a week, and I show some stuff, upcoming stuff. Like they've already seen my new board, or in CAD. So yeah. Otherwise, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next week. Take care, everybody. I need this hand. Catch you later.